JD, always a pleasure to have you because you are the man in the know when it comes to movies. And we have a lot to talk about, so I want to dive right in. What big films do we need to keep our eyes out for?
A couple of wonderful options coming out soon. Obviously, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is in theaters right now. But coming up is Avatar 2: The Way of the Water, a sequel to Avatar that we've been waiting for over a decade now. This movie has, it was announced in like 2013. It's taken 10 years to come out, and it's going to be one of the biggest films of the year. That is absolutely the big blockbuster to end the year. So the other one that I really want to emphasize, and this isn't necessarily a blockbuster, but it is the great Steven Spielberg. He has a new movie out called The Fabelmans, which is based off of his childhood. He's not afraid to get into the dirty areas of his life. It's really endearing and charming, but it has some great texture to it. And it's Spielberg, and it's Spielberg doing what he does best. Aside from that one, there is the Glenn Powell film and Jonathan Majors' Devotion. It's based off of a true story, which is really interesting, especially because it's that forgotten war, the Korean War, and in particular the Air War, which isn't really talked about a lot. The story at the core of that film is going to be really compelling and probably something not many people are aware of. So it's going to be a really wonderful way to educate people and be cinematically entertained at the same time.
Let's talk about Glass Onion. I am really excited about this because I love me a good murder mystery.
Gotta love a good murder mystery. This is, I guess, a sequel, but it's not really a sequel to Knives Out. It's more of a continuation, I guess, because it's a new story, it's a new cast. Daniel Craig is back, though. And yeah, it's going to be a fun murder mystery kind of movie. If you like Knives Out, this is going to fix that appetite for you. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. That's one that's coming to theaters and will also be on Netflix in a few weeks.
So this is going to be something that I think so many people have been looking forward to. And it's an old classic that is coming to life in a new form, Pinocchio.
Yeah. So there's something about the magic of childhood that is wonderful. And Pinocchio, I think, gets into it in a really fascinating way because it's more about the dangers as well as the magic of childhood. And now with this Pinocchio, it's Guillermo del Toro. He won an Oscar a few years ago with The Shape of Water. By all accounts, it is one of the best animated movies we've seen in years. That's definitely one to keep on your radar for sure.
You talked about The Shape of Water, so let's stick with that water theme. Let's talk about The Whale, which may or may not have anything to do with water because I don't really even know what it's about.
Yeah, so The Whale is fascinating because this is a movie from Darren Aronofsky, who is a polarizing figure. Not everyone loves his movies, and it's understandable. He's an ambitious filmmaker. But if you've seen movies like The Fountain or Mother with Jennifer Lawrence a few years ago, but what's fascinating about this movie is that it stars Brendan Fraser. And not only Brendan Fraser, but he's in costume and makeup. His character is like 400 pounds, which is why it's called The Whale, and him kind of grappling with how he is viewed in society and inside the relationships around him. And Brendan Fraser's performance has been hailed at every film festival that it is premiered at. He is absolutely going to be nominated for Best Actor, might even be the front runner right now for Best Actor. It is an amazing comeback story. If you know anything about Brendan Fraser, how he was blacklisted from Hollywood, the emotional turmoil he's experienced. Even if Aronofsky isn't your thing, I highly suggest seeking out this film just for the Brendan Fraser narrative, because he's a great guy and he deserves every bit of what he's experiencing right now.
Speaking of comeback somewhat, we have A Christmas Story Christmas where the little guy is all grown up and now has a family of his own. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, characters that you know from the first film coming back, but more obviously much later. You can't go wrong with these characters. And it's a Christmas story. It's going to be a fun Christmas movie. So if you like that first one, I'm sure there's going to be a lot to love about this one.
So we went through a lot of movies there, but there are still so many others that we don't have time to talk about. So can we do a few honorable mentions?
Yeah, so as far as a few honorable mentions, a movie called Babylon coming out. This is not for the kids, but it is directed by Damien Chazelle, who directed La La Land in 2016. He did First Man, my favorite movie of 2018. This film is going to be full of debauchery. If you know anything about the legend of Babylon, symbolically speaking, when you tether that to the world of Hollywood, you can fathom where that's going to go. There's another one that recently came out called The Banshees of Inisherin. And again, with Oscars, Colin Farrell, if Brendan Fraser is pushed at all in that race, it's going to be Colin Farrell in that movie. He is terrific. It is one of the best movies of the year. It's currently in theaters right now. I imagine it'll get a re-release though once awards come out and nominations are given out. Last one I want to note here, this is already on Netflix. This is almost a hard film to recommend, but it's worth noting because it's one of the best movies of the year, and that is All Quiet on the Western Front. Its predecessor was the first one to win Best Picture back in 1930. This is the first German production of that story, though, which is noteworthy, and it is one of the most visceral films you'll see all year. But it's very, very good, and if you can stomach it, it's definitely one worth watching, and it's on Netflix right now.
If you like movies of any kind, you will want to go visit InSessionFilm.com because you have regular podcasts, you have a lot of information, a lot of articles and blogs going on there. You are fantastic to be able to chat with JD because you have all the info on what we need to know about films, and it's always great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you as well. Thanks for having me.